our webinar series, Enhancing and Empowering Conversations for Positive Change. We look forward to being here with you today and to sharing another set of great presenters with you. Next slide, Lori, please. So as you guys know, if you are here or if you're new here, we're going to go over very quickly our ways to engage. When you're ready to speak, please raise your hand. For all of you guys that currently have your hand raised, I'm going to ask you to please, if you don't have any sound, check your systems. We are not able to troubleshoot sound issues unless everybody is having sound issues. Then that means that there's a problem with our stuff. But if you can hear me, put in the chat, we hear you. If not, if there's a real issue, otherwise we won't. Great, fantastic. Okay, so for those of you guys having sound issues, that means that's on your end. Play a little bit with your mic, okay? Check your settings on your stuff. Okay, all right. Fantastic. So when you're ready to speak today, please raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute yourself, because when we unmute you, it brings you onto the camera. So that's why we're not gonna like unmute anybody right now or take any questions. Yes, that's the topic today, Jeff. You are on top of it. Feel free to put your comments in the group chat and make sure it's going to everyone. If it doesn't go to anyone, if it doesn't go to everyone, it's going to just go to the presenters. Okay, so make sure this is going to everyone. And then please be patient with us. There are a lot of you on today. The chat is going to be on fire. I know it, because everybody's going to be excited and want to jump in. So please be patient with us. We may not be able to answer every chat, but as long as you guys can see it, we're good to go. Next slide, please, Lori. So as you guys know, or, for those of you guys who are new here, we do something called agreements. And these agreements are the way that we create a safe space and encourage people to be brave in this space. Emotional safety looks different for everybody, but we really want to try to create a space where people feel comfortable sharing. So we're going to ask you to speak from your own experience and use I statements if you come on, or in the chat. We're going to ask you to follow the golden rules and treat other people the way you want to be treated. For us, that looks like not giving advice. It also looks like no judgment, like, oh, that sounds really good, or to one person, not to everybody. It also looks like being fully present, right? So treat other people the way you want to be treated, and then be fully present. We know you could be doing a lot of stuff, but you took your lunch to be with us, to learn how to better engage fathers today. Woohoo! Kudos to you. So we're going to ask you to do is be fully present. Don't do Candy Crush right now, okay? This is your lunch, but spend it with us. Don't answer emails right now. Really bring your whole self to this webinar so you can get the best out of it, the most out of it, okay? And you don't leave wanting. And then if you need a minute, take a minute. Based on what we're talking about, sometimes these topics can get a little cause some emotions and people have to step away, or you may have to take a phone call and step away. Do what you need to do. Rest break, grab you something to eat, whatever. Do what you need to do and then come back. We'll be right here waiting for you, okay? If you agree, I need to see you putting agree in the chat, because otherwise we won't be able to move forward, and I just don't want that to happen. So yes, look at all these agree. I agree, I agree, I agree, I agree. I also agree. Yes, okay, what happens here stays here, and if they miss the party, can't do anything about it. All right, let's keep moving forward. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Or today, I am so pleased to share with you these presenters. So let me tell you about the presenter. One, I met his wife at a conference in Hawaii, and we in Hawaii, y'all, I love my job. Hello. I love my job. And I met Dr. Desiree. We connected because we had the same viewpoint and share the same passion about parent engagement and evaluations and measurement systems and within the school systems and early childhood and all that great stuff. And I was like, sis, you got to come and be on our webinar. Like, you got to come and bring this great information. And while we were talking and we were trying to think of like the best thing to bring to you guys, just like, oh my gosh, my husband's is this fantastic webinar and training father on fatherhood. I was like, we gotta have him. We gotta have him on. We have to bring him to the Be Strong Families family. So today we are presenting Father and Male Role Model Inclusion Strengthening Program Outcomes by incorporating fatherhood initiatives into daily practice with Dr. Andre Walker. Dr. Andre Walker, Ph.D., is the Director of Operations for DE&C Consulting. He has served on nonprofit, academic, and health-based institutions for over 30 years. His work with health and human service agencies and educational institutions resulted in improved client outcomes, proven evaluation and measurement systems, and research publications. He obtained a Master of Public Health with an emphasis in health promotion and education, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree in health service policies and management. His research focuses on health disparities and pathways to equitable healthcare for children and adults. Most notably, Dr. Walker's dissertation research was the evidentiary. I had to work really hard to get that documentation used to fund the South Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Adult Preventive Dental Care Benefits Program. Say that 3 times fast. Dr. Walker is keenly interested in expanding access to health and mental health services to undeserved populations and promoting opportunities for men to play more significant roles in their children's development. Welcome, Dr. Andre Walker. I am your host, Sarita Sashington, Be Strong Families, and I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Andre. I'll be here, guys. See ya.
Thank you, Mrs. Sashington, and also thank you, Miss Lori, for moving the slides forward. But again, I'm Dr. Andre Walker. You can call me Andre. I would like to present a little bit about what we're here to discuss about strengthening programming outcomes for incorporating fatherhood initiative into daily practice. A little bit about myself. Again, a little bit more in detail. Next slide, Lori. I'm the director of DE&C Consulting for about a year now, and I'm in this new wheelhouse, and I love it. Working in early childhood education and working in health and human services is a great passion of mine. In particular, working with fathers, engaging fathers in the programming in various capacities. Also working in self-assessments, monitoring systems like Child Plus in the Head Start space, gap analysis, community needs assessments and writing those, and also being someone who can help with technical and training assistance in this space as well too. I'm also a U.S. veteran. I served the country for 8 years as a medic in the U.S. Navy, and that was definitely a growing experience for myself professionally and personally. So I'm always going to tout the fact that I served this country, and I served it well for 8 years. Next slide. So today's goals, we're going to understand male engagement. Okay, we will explore a few things. Why the research and evidence supports the need for having fathers engaged in programming for better outcomes for children. The what regulations and expectations are established in government space, such as the Office of Head Start and Head Start programming, and the performance standards. The who, defining fathers and males in early childhood education. It can also be that's early childhood education. It could be in health and human services. It could be in hospitals and social services. Engaging fathers in these various entities is important across the board. We need fathers engaged. And the how, we're going to also talk about some of the structured and systematic father engagement efforts that are existing presently in the early childhood space. And we can also expand to touch other avenues as well too. Next slide, Lori. So I'm going to open up the chat, and you can, some folks can come off mic if you feel comfortable coming off mic for a few, to ask you 2 questions. What words come to mind when you hear the word father and male engagement? Just a few folks Can you use the chat? Dr. Delzio will facilitate the chat box.
For folks, it means their dad. For some, it's being present. Others is leaders, inclusion, confidence, active involvement, missing often, family unity, role modeling, support,
Ah,
role models, love,
love.
crucial,
Thank you.
responsibility, a
Stability.
hero, my
Oh,
dad's love, strength,
engagement.
opportunities to celebrate all fathers,
Awesome.
unconditional love, necessary, legacy, security, provider,
Like that
lack of
legacy.
programming. Thank you, Cindy. That's what we're here for. Protector,
Leadership. Yes.
father's input. They are at the table. Agreed. Inclusion.
Yes. Inclusion. Great, 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 great descriptives. Thank you
Somebody
guys.
said how to keep it how to get it going.
How to get it going. Impactful. All right.
Generosity.
Yes. Forgotten
Forgotten by
by
systems.
systems. Yes. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for the feedback. And when I speak of father and male inclusion, what comes to mind? It's a little different, but what comes to mind when you hear the word father and male inclusion? Making them feel welcome and
Betsy
important.
shares.
Equity.
Good.
Crucial. Very good.
Often forgotten.
Intentional.
Yes.
Intentional.
Appreciated. Thank you,
Yes.
Danielle. They matter.
Seen. Transformational. I like that. Yes. This is good.
Excellent.
I'm trying to shorthand these notes. I'm like, I had some, but I think I'm gonna take a couple of these for myself. Thank you guys. This is good.
Right.
No, I'm sitting here
We're
shorthanding it.
stealing from you now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Aware. Awesome.
Included in all aspects of programming. Thank
Yes.
you. Agreed.
Yes. Some other ones, when I speak of inclusion, could be embracing, hurt and equity, sensitivity, respectfulness, non-discriminatory, fairness, and also justice. And we'll speak on that a little more in our other slides. So thank you guys for the feedback. Dads, uncles, teachers, men in the community, good men that are a part of our lives. Yes, we'll speak on something called fathering. I found that I actually heard that word for the first time when I heard Deion Sanders speak of fathering. So I definitely want to incorporate that fathering approach when working with males and fathers. Next slide, Lori. Thank you. Okay. In research as of recent years, from the University of Cal Berkeley, Federal Field Work Found, and also allforkids.org, spoke to the fact that, and also champions the fact that father and male involvement is results in the following: positive health outcomes in infants, reduced frequency of behavioral challenges in adolescents and children, decreased delinquency, improved economic outcomes, reduce instances of depression in kids, promote exploratory and independent behavior, and increase sociability, competence, and self-control. Now, are there any ones? I'm gonna use the chat box. You can come off mic. Are there any others that I missed, or you will probably want to champion as well too, or say having a father or role model involved in children results in the following? Is anything that I missed from the 7 bullets? Okay. Example for future generations. Thank you for that, Dawn. Anyone else? Safer communities, better programming, feeling protected, happier children, different way of looking at things. Okay. Less suicide. Okay. Higher graduation rates. That's one of my other bullets. Thank you for that. Improve family outcomes, concrete support. Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Healthy relationships, less likely to involve in domestic issues, and also less divorce. So I'm gonna go to the next particular section here where it says father engagement in early childhood education results in the following. 43% are more likely to earn A's through the end of high school. 33% are less likely to repeat a grade. More likely to participate in extracurricular activities. Enjoy the academic experience. And twice as likely to enter college. And 75% are less likely to have a teen birth. Is there anything else that I missed? Okay. Please feel free.
Lots of great comments have been coming in the chat box around less likely to be involved in criminal activity,
Yes.
reduction in
Thank you.
intergenerational trauma and violence,
Oh,
reduced
that's a good one.
risks of negative peer pressure,
Mm-hmm.
business owners.
Business owners. Okay.
At the close of this, we will be providing our contact information. Anybody who's interested in the slides will be able to contact
Yes.
us.
Stable minds, increase resilience. Like that. Okay. All right. Take pride in self. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel. Okay. Thank you guys for the feedback. This is great. Next slide, Lori. So when we speak of father engagement in the programming space, it's not only a requirement for the state and federally funded programs that we incorporate male engagement initiatives. It is a key component in navigating inequities and promoting belonging for fathers and fatherhood figures. So that speaks to the whole importance of the need for fatherhood engagement. And especially in the social service setting, to which you guys mentioned some of the key uh, uh, things that are so vital to having a child involved, father involved with their children, better resilience, better health outcomes, better behavior patterns in children. So these, it also speaks to that. And I think also the inequities in promoting belonging is important. I can also say that with the Office of Head Start, that family engagement is very important, that they have a component of having some strategies to engage fathers in programming, and that's highlighted in one of the regulations. I think it's 1302.50. Those who work in the early childhood space. I can speak to that. Is anything that I missed? That there any other tenets or any other requirements from various entities that says that a father engagement component needs to be included in your curriculum or your practice that I missed per se? Feel free to come off mic and speak to it.
Anyone who is outside of the education space or is in
Yes.
other aspects of human services or health
Yes.
services. We've seen a lot of initiatives coming out of the federal government about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Father and male engagement is a huge component of breaking down that barrier.
Yes.
We have someone on the mic.
Oh, great.
Hi,
Hello, Cheryl.
We're not hearing anybody who came off mic. Is someone trying to speak?
Cheryl, would you come off mic?
You've been Cheryl, we've unmuted you on our end. Okay, I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Oh, Cheryl, I don't know what's happening.
Cheryl, if you can put your comment or question in the chat box.
Chat box. Yes, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. Okay.
Anyone else?
All right. Anyone else? Okay.
The
Again,
question
Peggy
for,
said, what
oh,
was the
sorry.
question?
Go ahead, Andre. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
the question is, are there any other outside of the Head Start space, are there any other social settings that make a requirement that fatherhood engagement programming is vital to the success of a program? Or let's say outside of Head Start, could it be in the social
Education.
service education? Outside of education, could it be Head Start? I mean, social services, healthcare that has a component.
Okay. Home visiting. Thank you.
Yes.
Prevention initiative.
Group homes.
NACI groups.
Yes.
Yes. Community
Yes.
outreach. Nice.
Great.
Hawaiian language program.
Oh, great. This is good. Okay. Thank you.
Centers. Excellent. You're in the right place. You want to build your father engagement programming, your male engagement programming, because we have some really exciting next steps for how you can think about that.
Great. Community schools. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Mental health assessments, prisons. Yes. Okay. Great. Yes.
Disability rights.
Very good.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Very good feedback. Okay.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you.
Right here. Being a part of Be Strong.
Awesome. Thank you. This is great. Yeah. You see, father engagement program is touching all avenues, and it's so vitally important. And thank you guys for being present to have this discussion and move this forward as well too. Thank you. Lori, could you move to the next slide? In the health and human services space, we know that having loving and nurturing father is important to a child's happiness, well-being, and social and economic academic success as having a loving and nurturing mother. And again, this is not to disparage, the women are very active in a child's life, but just the key thing of having a father present is also vitally important to a child's success. The next one is that it is not the number of hours spent with a father figure, but the quality and strength of that time. You know, highlighting that non-residential fathers can have as a strong influence in a child as those in the home. So if you have a father who may be separated from their parent, separated with their kids, having that involvement and spending that quality time is so important through the matriculation of that child from 0 to 18 or 0 to 25 in that space. The next button, Lori. The key factor that is the engagement is positive and dedicated to a child's emotional well-being. And that's again from 0 to 18 years. So that's that emotional security and support that's needed for that child through the matriculation to their adulthood. This research shows that fatherhood initiative is crucial in creating these outcomes. Next slide, Lori. Who are fathers? One is biological fathers. Another one is the stepfather, or a father figure, and that could be a mentor or uncle or a cousin or older cousin. And families ranging from married to cohabitating, single parents, or recombined. Now, notions of the role of a father are diverse and may be influenced by cultural and demographic factors. Now, is it any, and I'm gonna open the mic up for further discussions. Did I miss any other individuals who could be considered as fathers? Coaches, yes, I saw that one. Yes, coaches. Thank you for that feedback. Cousins, yes, older cousins. Bus drivers, yes. Clergy, very good. Social workers, education staff, yes. Uncles, yeah, big brothers, teachers, yes. Very, yeah, yes, exactly. All of, yes. Neighbors, fathers through adoption, yes. Grandfathers, I forgot to mention that. That's very important. Yes.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
Adopted fathers through adoption,
Yes.
foster fathers.
Father figures forever. Yes.
Yeah, your friend's dad, your older brothers,
Guys, yes.
godparents,
Yes.
absolutely.
Neighbors.
That's
Yes.
right.
Very good.
Good, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you,
We
guys.
often
Teachers.
talk about this as really male engagement as opposed to
Yes.
father specific, because it can be
Right.
any influential male.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Guardian ad litem. Yes. Yes. Very familiar with them. Yes. This is why I
I like
taught
that.
father.
I like
Yes.
that, Harrison.
Yes. Thank you, Darren. Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Next slide, Lori. This is very good. I'm gonna pivot real quick. Next slide, Lori, please. I'm gonna ask you guys some great questions here. Now, guys, you can come off mic.
I don't think
Um,
they can, Andre. I think
okay, if you can't come off
there's
mic, you can use the chat box. What are some of the reasons fathers may be resistant to engaging in services? Let's keep this comment.
stigma,
All right.
judgment,
Judgment from peers. Yes. Discrimination. Too much
too
work.
much work.
Confidence. Okay.
They don't
The
feel
system.
welcome. Pride,
Ah, yeah.
unaware,
Not gender friendly. I saw that one. Okay.
Mhm.
Stigma.
undocumented, very
Yes.
good,
Unwelcome.
non-inclusive,
Yes.
feeling underqualified,
Oh, wow. Cultural differences.
may lead to unexpected
Not knowing
financial
how, work
obligations,
schedule. Okay. Bad relationship
disenfranchised.
with, yes. Trauma. Lack of confidence. Okay.
Mhm.
Unaware of the service. Systems are feminized. I read a book on that. And just in the term, thank you for that comment. I forgot who the author was. I have the book here somewhere. He said that he was a single father, but when you see the word WIC, women, infant, and children, he felt excluded from just that term. And he was a
Mhm.
single father, and they thought that he was taking the baby in, and he said, I'm have sole custody of my child, but the term WIC, women, infant, and children, made him feel a certain way. He wasn't supposed to be a single father. Thank you for that. That is so true. Okay, mind
No
control by the brain,
images of fathers
anger issues.
being an
Okay.
older father, implicit bias.
Yes, too many female agents influence in the fields, qualifications. Okay. This is a safe space to make that. Thank you, guys. This is so real. And it's so okay,
It's the reality
it's the
of
reality. It is.
why this is such hard work.
Fear of judgment. Yes. Yeah. These are all great comments. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Men know that and they're reluctant because, yeah, like Andre was saying with WIC,
Mhm.
the services are aligned toward our preconceived notion that
Yes.
child development and human development is the acumen of women.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna dig a little deeper.
It's a
Thank you for
mom's
this.
job, right?
Okay. What are some strategies that could be used to relax a father's resistance? So you gave me some great feedback. So what are some strategies that could be used to relax a father's resistance? Inform them, hire male staff, be inclusive and welcoming. Yes. Okay. More male staff, include fathers in planning process. Good one. Safe spaces, father groups. Yes. Yes. More male activities. Yeah. So we'll
Treat them
definitely,
like men.
yeah.
I
And
like
you know
that.
what?
Yeah.
We'll definitely expand on a lot of this in January, guys. So we just scratched the surface of how far we're going to go. So thank you for this feedback. This is on point, and this is what we need to have a safe space to have these conversations. So thank you. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
So one of the things that we also want to really think about is our internal training and how we help our staff to recognize their own bias, right?
Mhm.
Many of the reasons why these barriers exist is the way our staff, our teachers, or our frontline staff, our office staff who greet people the very first time at the beginning of the day, our recruitment staff, anyone that's engaging with families, helping them break down their own barriers so they know when they are contributing to these things.
Yes. And we'll definitely go into some of the biases in the next slide. Next question, please. Thank you, Lori. How would you begin to engage young fathers in services? So we talked about what are some of the why they're resistant. What are some of the strategies? Now I'm asking the group, how would you begin to engage fathers in services? Incentives. Okay.
Okay.
Offer stipends.
Stipend.
Sign them up without pushing them. Invite them to join. Yes.
Yeah, Ida, I think that's a really good point. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just that.
Yes.
There's just
Invite
no
them. Yes.
invitation.
Yes.
Cultural competence. Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Provide safe spaces
Yes.
from the very beginning. So, Mariela, this is so important what you're talking about. Part of
Yes.
how the framework that we work on for father engagement and programming begins with the very first interaction you ever have with a family.
Right. Okay. Yes. Bring them in to celebrate them.
Right. Read with me programs, daddy
Yes.
reads to me programs, things like
Yeah.
that,
Do it
where
virtually. Yes.
father's involved.
Great.
Include them in planning. And
This
I
is great.
love that one. I love oh, thanks, Sarita. Yes, include them in planning. Yes. All of your
Okay.
committees, all the work that you do, your leadership, everything that you put together, their voice must be present. Don't make assumptions about our
Yeah.
fathers.
It was someone that mentioned that they do something with them in the state of Mississippi. It's like baby showers to get them involved. So thank you for that comment.
Parent Advisory Council
Yes.
involvement. Yes.
I was just gonna say to survey them for the times that work for them, because if you include them, then they can tell you that 9 o'clock in the morning doesn't work for me to come
That's
to a
right.
meeting.
That's right.
Try having some evening meetings when I can come. You want me to be a
Right.
part? Do that. And feed me
Yes.
good food, not 10 chicken wings for $1.
Right. So, and Harrison says involve them in service design and execution. I think that's really what you're getting at, Sarita,
Yes.
is that um, when we work with programs and we talk about male inclusion and male activities, we'll often hear things like, well, the engagement staff work from 8 to 5. Well, I work from 8 to 5. So if they're not available during 8 to 5, I'm sorry, it's not my problem. But if you're really thinking about your service design, then you're taking into account that we may have to have a flexible schedule for some of our staff, at least some days of the week.
Yeah. I definitely want to highlight some other comments. One that says trust is very important. And also encourage them to participate is vitally instrumental as well too. Thank you all for the comments. This is great. The next one, Lori, please. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the barriers um, to male inclusion, some of the biases that we have, and some of the perceived biases against men. And again, I want you guys to come use the chat box as well too. So the first one would be that fathers are not as nurturing as mothers. Next one, fathers have the option to parent while mothers must parent. Mothers parent and fathers babysit. And fathers are more of a threat to children than mothers. So these are some of the biases that are out there. Are there any other biases that you guys can comment on, or feel free to use the chat box to say what's some felony statics?
Good.
Yep. Ex offenders. Yep.
That's
Very
right.
good.
That men fathers are only around for the relationship with the woman or the mom, not anything to do with being family
Right.
involved or a caregiver.
Hmm.
Untrustworthy and irresponsible.
Okay. Too many female agents.
Yeah, well, that and Harrison, you were saying that earlier. If
Hmm.
all of our representation and everybody they interact with is a woman, they're
Yeah.
not going to feel seen.
Someone
We
put
have to think
gang
about that.
bangers in it. Some of the perception biases that their rough fathers are too tough and rough with children. That's true. Lack of recruitment,
Yeah,
male agents at intake, etc. Okay.
that's right. That's right. Fathers can be victims, not just perpetrators.
Constant criticism. The notion that mothers can play father roles. Yes, very much so. He's a bad guy in the relations with children. These are biases. Thank you. Keep bringing the biases up. These are perceptions that we all have, and that are definitely in this space.
Fathers are
Mom,
too tough and rough.
dope
Yeah,
boy, mom doesn't want father involved. Fathers expose them to bad things. Women over parent. Fathers too strict. Moms don't
unreliable.
trust.
Mm,
Yeah, this
mhm.
is man up. This is yeah. Thank you so much. It is
That's why
why
we
men.
as men. Go ahead, Andre. Sorry.
No, I couldn't. It went too fast, but that's fine. That's fine. Thank you guys. This is good. I'm glad we are recording this because I'm going to go over each one of these comments. Definitely.
Though the disabled can't parent. Very
Hmm.
good. He doesn't know what to do. Transgender roles.
Men
Mom
don't
and
want
dad don't
to
care.
be here. Yeah.
These are all biases.
Yeah.
Very
Past
good.
history of sexual assault. Yeah, this is good. This is good feedback. But thank you. Thank you guys.
Hmm.
Great.
Too abrasive, hard exterior.
Yes.
Yeah, unhealed trauma. And some of these things you guys are talking about are not just biases. I mean, in
Hmm.
some ways, they're realities that we have
Right.
to deal with. I mean, bias is a reality that we have to deal with. We have to break them down
Hmm.
and educate our teams and our staff and really think differently about the way we engage,
Hmm.
the way we establish blame and shame,
Yes.
the way that we can project our own anger and feelings about our own male role models in our lives onto the men around us.
Yes.
Yes, Danielle.
Alcohol. Yes.
People become what you say they are. We
Recovering
are, we
addict.
are, we are what we think about, right?
Yes. This is great. Thank you guys. Lori, the next slide, please. Some additional barriers to male inclusion include the following: economic challenges, men as financial rather than emotional contributors, mothers preventing father-child contact. Women are labeled as gatekeepers or act as gatekeepers. That term, preventing the child to see their son or daughter due to some court involvement or some past relationships, uh, and using children as uh, what you call, what's the word I want, as pawns. If daddy does this, I'll do that, or you won't come see dad. He's not available this weekend. Women and mothers acting like gatekeepers. Fathers and mothers inability to work together, or domestic violence issues could be present. Exacerbating challenges. There could be court involvement, legal involvement, substance abuse history. We all talked about that earlier. Deportation issues and mental health issues are some other ones. Great feedback. Is anything I missed? Any other
There's been quite a few comments, family
comments?
legal issues,
Yes.
parent alienation, gatekeeping as parental alienation, living
Hmm.
environments,
Hmm.
co-parenting should be the forefront of family law. Well, agreed.
Hmm.
Harrison, I'd be interested in knowing where a little bit more about your organization. Thank you, Vera. Fathers don't know their rights.
Yes.
There is definitely a longstanding history in this country of alienating fathers from children's lives.
Hmm.
New girlfriend, jealous new girlfriend. Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Culture. Men do this, women do that. So these barriers are very real. If we are working with families who are refugeeing to our country from other nations, we have to be aware of
Mhm.
what the culture around fatherhood and father relationships with children are, and
Mhm.
that we meet them where they are, and that's in that identity.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's lots of co-parenting going on.
Yes. And also, I may add that fathers also deal with motivational barriers, reluctance to be trusting with a group, the lack of fathers participating, the lack of a male program staff, tensions with the mother we talked about earlier, the lack of clarity about benefits of participation is also noted in the pressures of their current relationship. They may not be with the mother, or the mother could be like, again, I don't want my child around dad because of he could be very abusive or he's a bad example for the children. There could be a lot of issues. Also mentioned also rape and molestation issues, identity issues, things these particular instances or situations come up. Social media fathers who parent through social media. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Deal.
Interesting.
Great feedback. Great feedback. Okay. Are there anything else? Okay. Rap videos, false representation. Thank you, Peggy.
Yeah,
And I'm a hip hop head.
non-custodial
Yeah.
parenting. Yeah, this
Child
informs culture
support.
parenting.
All right.
So non-custodial parenting, culture clashing in parenting cultures, child support. Dads and
Mhm.
moms don't understand funds to usually do pass through from him to mother and father. Deceased fathers, yes.
Yes.
This is so important as to why we have to really
Cultural
broaden
biases,
our
especially
our
for ethnic
understanding.
fathers. Thank you, Samuel. Very good. The cultural biases. That is something that we should definitely speak on that uh in our next training for sure in January. Just look at some of these 50-50 custody issues. Yes. Incarcerated fathers. Hallmark dads who
Yeah,
parent through Hallmark
sure.
cards. Oh,
Yeah, thank you, Alicia.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
right. It's very different what shows up
different
on
parenting
Facebook
styles.
and what shows up in real
Exactly.
life.
Yes.
So just looking at the time, I'd love to have us move into some of the structures and systems around building these sorts of capacities internally and within programs.
Well, thank you. Lori, could you go to the next slide? All right. Well, we're going to talk about some addressing. Thank you guys for the feedback. We're going to also talk about some addressing some of the barriers and sustaining services. We're going to look at some of the structures and systems. And first looking at some of the structures when it comes to organizational type, that's either nonprofit, school districts, or public entity. Like for organizations, that could be Child Start or a Head Start program that works firstly with kids. Let's do that example out. As a family or a child center that's focused on the needs of family and young children. Dr. Del Zozzi, did I miss any nonprofit other examples you
So
want to speak
yeah,
on?
any one of the ones that it looks like folks are working in here, we've seen quite a few things around social service, home
Mhm.
visiting,
Yes.
support programming, um, even hospitals, doctors' offices, churches,
Mhm.
any organization type where there's going to be engagement with families.
Okay.
And then thinking about all of those various stakeholders as part of our structure.
Okay. And also when we speak of, families and staff, including the stakeholders, that can also include your board of directors, your leadership team, your coordinators, your frontline staff, your policy council. Also community partners and funders, external stakeholders. That's your local on the local level, the county level, or potential partners you work with in the community. When we speak of systems, we speak of the oversight and internal monitorings, what tracking systems you have in place, and what information is captured in your system. With Head Start is Child Plus. Any other formats, Dr. Del Zio, that I miss?
In the tools?
Yes.
For the
No,
systems?
and no,
Yeah.
in the systems and reference, the tools we know, I haven't gotten to tools yet, but
Sorry. Yeah.
some of the operations we talk about,
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for us to remember when we want to consider male or father engagement is the intentionality around the system. And part of our framework at DE&C Consulting is really thinking about the very first time that someone approaches us and is interested in being a part of our program or receiving services from us. What sorts of questions are we asking? How are we engaging them? How are we talking to them to let them know that this is an inclusive environment? For example, I have watched and observed recruitment where a family walks up to a recruiter and the recruiter only interacts with the mother. That is a bias on the part of the recruiter that we need to train them on and make them aware of, that we're sending a signal from the first interaction that the father's not welcome. So these are the kinds of things that we think about when we're considering and reflecting on how our male engagement system is put in place.
yes. And we also speak of operation and budgeting and standard operating procedures and allocating funds for male engagement. If you want to know what an organization cares about, see what what they spend their money on, and that is very important. Um, they say they want father engagement programming. Let's see where that money goes. Money talks. So we want to make sure that money is allocated to the programming and the implementation and development of father and male engagement programming across the board. When we speak of tools, collecting information that understands the males present in children's lives and their level of involvement. For example, communication systems are the recruitment materials out there, discussing the whole family model that include we want fathers to be more inclusive. Instead of having a WIC, mothers, infant, and children, have a parent, make it more broader. They'll paint it with a broader brush that seems to be inclusive of including fathers. Applications include questions about influential males in a child's life, i.e., we talked about stepfathers, uncles, the clergy, foster fathers, older brothers, cousins, uncles. So we want to make sure we paint it with a broad brush to make sure everybody's represented and spoken for when it comes to the matriculation of that child, because we have, you know, again, we have cultural barriers to consider, cultural factors to consider, because you have a household where you may have a grandfather present, an uncle present, a dad present, and they all touch the life of that child. So that should not go under the skirted in that space. Dr. Del Zio. Thank you, Mr. Harrison
Yeah.
Spencer, for that comment. I got it. So thank you, Mr. Harrison, for that
Yes.
that comment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One of the first things that we do when we go in and set up a father engagement or a male engagement framework with an organization is who's going to hold the space.
Yes.
And our goal in most cases, not that female employees can do this, but to find a male so that when our fathers come in or our male role models come in, they see someone who looks like them, who reflects them.
Yeah.
I know we're running short on time here and have had such a wonderful, robust discussion in the chat box. We have a series of questions we're going to put up on the screen right now that we will not necessarily take answers to, just so we honor your time boundary. But here's
Yeah.
some things that we want you to think about if you are asking the question. Or the question, how do I do this in my organization? Here's some of the things we would want you to think about. So our first question is, do we have staff that make obvious efforts to include fathers and father figures in assessing a family's strengths and needs? Our teachers or staff, and this was to what Sarita was talking about earlier, do they contact fathers and father figures to obtain their availability when they're scheduling things like conferences or meetings? Are they taking the time to find out when they are available? Do they make obvious efforts to understand the father figure or the father's input on family's goals, or where the father's goals, or where they want to go with their children, with their parenting, or even their goals, their professional goals? Are they invited to participate in volunteer opportunities with their children? Are there volunteer opportunities that speak to father's interests? Staff obtain input from community organizations that target male-specific engagement. So there are organizations, depending on your community, that are out there doing work with fathers who are re-entering from the prison system, or fathers who are experiencing other types of challenges, and they're working very specifically on male-focused issues. And we want to partner with those folks. We want to talk to them. We want to know what they know. And finally, and this is not an exhaustive list of questions, but do our staff make obvious efforts to include them on policy advisory committees or other types of committees and decision-making groups? So we're going to continue this conversation with all of you and into the future, but we wanted to give you a little bit of information. I'm also going to put our email into the chat box so you can contact us directly. Dr. Walker?
Well, you summed it up. Thank you guys for the opportunity and privilege to be in this space. I hope that we can move this forward in our January training. I look forward to having more discussion in this space. And again, I want to thank you all for the feedback. It was wonderful. And again, I'm honored to be in the presence of you guys. And I thank Miss Lori and also Miss Sarita for inviting us to be present and to have this conversation. Thank you all. God bless.
Before you
Oh
exit,
my goodness. Was this off the chain or what? It really was an off the chain webinar. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to share this with our wonderful Bichon families audience. Guys, let's show them some love. Thank you for showing. I see all the cheers coming across and the hearts and the claps. Yes, this was awesome.
Miss Sarita?
Lanonia,
Miss Sarita, I'm sorry, I forgot to put a plug in for our January
okay, put a
training.
plug in.
Our January 28th training will give you more guidance on how to create structures and systems. Our goal is to help you, whether you're a parent or a staff member or volunteer, to help you take these practices and concepts into implementation. So we want to make sure that our next training will focus on that in that space.
Fantastic. So the information for the workshop is on the screen today only. If you register today, if you purchase a workshop today, it is 20% off with the code 20 October 8. If you wait, you'll get 10% off and you use the code 10 Walker for the next 2 weeks, you'll get 10% off. So please go ahead. Don't miss this opportunity to get a discounted rate for the full workshop Tuesday, January 28th from 12 to 4 p.m. For those of you guys who have your hands raised, I feel so bad. Zoom apparently did an update and took away the option for you guys to come on and to speak. And that's one of the best parts of the webinar. We're going to figure out what's going on with the system. But please drop your question or your comment in the chat and we can answer it. So again, Tuesday, January 28th, join us as we do a deep dive into the father and male role model inclusion. This is going to be an awesome, if you thought you enjoyed the webinar, the workshop is going to blow your mind. So you don't want to miss it, okay? All right, please register today. Lori will also drop that link in the chat. Lori will also drop that link in the chat for us. So thank you. Lori, next slide, please. And you can use the QR code. And it'll take you right to it, and you can have it there too as well. And thank you. Noah dropped a link in the chat. Lori, what happened to the rest of the PowerPoint? Lori dropped a link in the chat, and Noah dropped one. So thank you for that. Download some images of fathers, dads being dads. I absolutely love that. Save the date for Wednesday, December 11th. We're having holiday and money conversation with Mariska Reiner Inc. She was here last month and she did a financial thing with us, which is awesome. So if you want to join us, not if you want to join us for Wednesday, December 11th, it's free. It's a webinar. You want to be there for the conversation, use the QR code to scan. Go ahead. Who said we don't take purchase orders from school districts? Contact me. I'll drop my contact information in there. And then next slide, please, Lori. Also join us for our upcoming Taster Cafes. These cafes are hosted by our national team of parents from across the country. October 4th, we're focusing on vitality this month, and we are family. The LGBTQIA Cafe is that conversation. Home is with the hardest is specifically to support those parents who, I noticed somebody said something about it in the chat, those parents who are struggling with how to support their children who are in that community. This cafe is for you. Okay, so sign up today, don't miss it. The sooner you sign up, the better, because all these cafes, guys, are like, we can only do 30 people and we always have like 60 people sign up for these cafes. So you don't want to miss it. It's a great way to engage parents using Be Strong Families cafes. Next slide. And then if you want to be able to get in contact, the walkers left their information. They dropped the information in the chat, but also if you lose that, feel free to visit our Speakers and Teachers Bureau, where they will be on the site. And if you'd like to contact them and have them bring this presentation to your organization, or have them come in and do what they do for you, feel free to please go visit our website. You can use the QR code there. Also, feel free to join us for the, go to our website. Lots of gifts. Christmas is coming up. This is the time for you to load up on all of your great gifts for your family members and for the parents you serve. Don't visit our shop. Use the QR code. And if you are enjoying what we do every month, feel free to drop a donation. Be a blessing to Be Strong Families. We try to help families and help organizations with the stuff that we share for every webinar. Feel free to donate, okay? This helps with our parent engagement efforts. And some of you guys are asking, is there a link for today's PowerPoint? Yes, we can share the link. I believe Dr. Desiree said that you could have access to the slides, so she'll share those with us afterwards, and we'll share them with you. And if you'd like for Dr. Desiree or Andre to have your information, please feel free to share that with them. Contact them directly. Okay, so thank you all so much. Next slide. Is that it, Lori, for us? Yay! Fantastic. Dr. Andre, I know Dr. Desiree is gone, but thank you so much for being here today. This was off the chain. I
Thank
loved
you.
all the conversations. I love some of the thoughts that we got. I
Thank
was
you.
taking notes. I was like,
Oh,
yes, this is good stuff. So,
yeah.
oh, wow, Matthew was
Yeah.
able to come on. Was he able to speak or no?
Yes. Like I've tried to write as much as I can as far as the feedback that we're getting. I'm get some ideas now. So as soon as we get off this call, I'm gonna shorthand everything I got. So thank the group. The energy was great. I look forward to January and see how we can move this forward, because it's so important to have fatherhood engagement programming in all facets of human services. So I'm just honored to be in this space and be around people who really see the need of this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's good
Yes.
to be with like-minded people. Guys, you know the holidays is coming up. Take advantage of that 20% off, okay? So it doesn't get caught up in your Christmas stuff. Do it now so that you can make it to the workshop and you don't miss on more great information from Dr. Andre and Dr. Desiree. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.